Saturday night, Daytona Beach, Florida. 17 drivers will compete for one final playoff spot. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to the unofficial Daytona preview episode of Out of the Groove. The Coke Zero Sugar 400 goes green Saturday night on NBC, the final race of the 2023 Cup Series regular season. 15 drivers have already locked themselves into the playoffs. One spot is still up for grabs. Today, we're going to focus on the remaining 17 full-time drivers who are still eligible for that last spot. Under this current format with these rules, you win a race, you're in. You don't even have to be top 30 in points anymore. So from rookie Ty Gibbs to Ty Dillon, who I think is 32nd in points, anyone can win their way into the playoffs this weekend. It's going to be a spicy Saturday night. Let's take a look real quick at the playoff bubble because there are still 3 drivers who mathematically could point their way in. Bubba Wallace is currently holding on to that 16th and final spot, looking to qualify for the playoffs for the first time in his career. He has a 32-point lead over rookie Ty Gibbs. He has a 43-point lead over Daniel Suarez. Unless Bubba Wallace crashes out, especially early, it will be very difficult for Ty Gibbs or Daniel Suarez to point their way in, but it's worth mentioning because it is mathematically possible. It's simple for everyone else. Everyone lower than Daniel Suarez in points needs to win Saturday night. They can throw stage points, stage racing out the window. It's all about leading on lap 160. I believe qualifying is going to be as important as it's ever been. It's not going to be, Watkins Glen level important, but still important. It's harder to work your way through the pack at Daytona now than it's been in years past. More than likely, we'll see 2 dominant lanes. A shaky third lane may form here and there, but passing will be difficult. The ride around in the back strategy may not be feasible. If you're Bubba Wallace plus 32, you need to go get stage points if you can early on to protect yourself if you get crashed out late. And if you're Bubba Wallace, you also have to remember that while the driver is currently inside the top 16 of the driver's standings, the 23 team is currently outside of the owner's standings. They trail the 9 team by 30 points. We talk most about the driver standings, but paradoxically, the owner standings are actually what pay the best. So I think the 23 team, get as many points as you can. Maybe you can make up that gap on the 9 team, even if you don't win. The days of Dale Earnhardt going from 18th to 1st in like 3 laps are no longer relevant. It's not possible with this current rules package. That is going to affect strategy. You have to be lucky to win at Daytona. You do. You also need some skill. I mean, there's no coincidence that we see guys like Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano often run up front in these races, but it's really easy to be knocked out by someone else's mistake. To symbolize Daytona's wild card characteristics, we are going to spin this wheel several times. And whichever bubble driver it lands on, that's who I'm going to talk about. I've put 16th through 27th in points on this wheel, but there are some drivers 28th or worse, like Eric Jones, who I think is a very underrated super speedway racer. Chase Briscoe, who finished 4th at Talladega this spring. Heck, even Harrison Burton, who has crashed out of most super speedway races he's entered, but he's looking to get the Wood Brothers their 100th win, and Ford is always fast. But I've narrowed my list down to these 12. Fate is going to play a role on Saturday night. I'm going to spin this wheel a few times, and we'll see who fate has us talking about today. Let's spin it for the first time. It's like a carnival game. All right, Alex Bowman. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, hey, he's a 3-time Daytona 500 pole winner. Like I said, qualifying will be more important here than in years past. However, Alex Bowman only has 1 top 5 finish at Daytona his whole career. I'm sure that car will have speed. He'll likely have some of his Hendrick Motorsports teammates up near the front with him. However, ranks will kind of be split considering his teammate Chase Elliott is also vying for a playoff spot. So let's spin this wheel a second time. All right. Okay. Hey, all right. The rookie, Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs won, I think, the first race on the newly reconfigured super speedway style Atlanta a couple years ago. It was the Xfinity race, but Ty Gibbs won it. I also went back and looked. He led 4 laps at Talladega in the Cup race earlier this spring. And speaking of numbers, Joe Gibbs Racing has their 3 other teams locked into the playoffs. And while Denny Hamlin may have some conflicts of interest, I'm sure they'll all be fairly motivated to help push the boss's grandson to the lead if given the chance. I think Ty Gibbs has already had a very respectable rookie season, but if he manages to qualify for the playoffs, that would put it over the top. Let's spin this wheel again. Maybe we can get more of a dark horse. Hey, ask and you shall receive. Corey LaJoie. Everyone remembers how close Corey LaJoie came to winning Atlanta last year. He actually finished top 5 at Atlanta again earlier this season. LaJoie typically brings his best to these style of races. However, I found it interesting. He has not led a single lap on any super speedway this year. We've been to 4 previous super speedway races. 0 laps led. I think it's a big ask then for Corey LaJoie to be leading at the end of Saturday night's race. But LaJoie is an interesting one. He is a very interesting pick. I'm sure it'll be a popular dark horse. Popular result on the wheel. Okay, let's spin again. Just keep spinning. Just keep spinning. Chase Elliott. Oh, that's right. He's not out of it. I know everyone talked like Watkins Glen, and personally, I'm guilty of this as well. Everyone acted like Watkins Glen was like his last chance or something. Like, no, it was his best chance for sure, but not his last chance. Chase Elliott, he's a good super speedway racer, and he's in a good car. He's got as good or better of a shot as anyone this weekend. I was checking the odds the other day, and they vary from place to place, but like Chase Elliott is widely regarded as one of, if not the favorites, the betting favorites coming into this weekend. Go back to Talladega this spring. It was his second race back from injury. He led 18 laps. Chase has never won a points-paying race at Daytona, but he's won twice at Talladega. He won at Atlanta this year. He is one of the favorites. Unfortunately for him, there are like 15 potential favorites. But don't rule out Chase Elliott. Watkins Glen was a bust, a catastrophic failure, but anything can happen Saturday night. Spin the wheel once again. The wheel really likes his teammate, apparently. Let's keep it going. All right. Okay, man, the anticipation. Ooh, Justin Haley. Okay, see, you can't talk about Daytona or Talladega without mentioning Justin Haley's 4 career Xfinity Super Speedway wins. And he's running the Xfinity race Friday night. Little extra seat time, even though these cars don't really drive or draft anything alike. I look back, Justin Haley did snag an 8th place finish at Atlanta earlier this year, so another popular dark horse. Just a couple more times, we'll see who else we get. Okay, Bubba Wallace, currently holding on to that last playoff spot. Look, Bubba Wallace is due. He has not finished inside the top 20 at any super speedways this year, but he was leading on the last lap at Talladega a few months back, got a little greedy with the blocks and wrecked. He's won at Talladega before. He's got a bunch of second place finishes at Daytona. He's really the only driver, again, that doesn't need to win. Again, mathematically, Suarez and Gibbs could point their way in, but Bubba would need to probably wreck out early for that to happen. Bubba just can't have a new winner win. I don't think Bubba should hang back. I think he should try to collect as many stage points as possible, try to run up near the front all day long. Again, he is still in the owner's points fight. He's 30 points behind the 9 team, so that alone should be motivation to go try and win everything. Win all the stages, win the race. That would be big if the 23 team can get both the driver and the team into the playoffs. We're going to spin this thing 2 more times. Oh, okay. This one doesn't count. Man, this wheel really loves Corey LaJoie. Is that a sign? An omen? Let's spin it again. What other surprises await us? Ooh, Eric Almirola. Hey, 2 of his 3 career wins have come at super speedways. Ford is usually fast, and go back to our strength in numbers conversation. Stewart-Haas has 4 cars. Now, 2 or 3 of them are all going to be on their different agendas. They're going to look out for their own self-interests. But numbers are numbers. I'd be really curious to hear the team orders, the manufacturer orders this weekend, especially with the rumors lately that Stewart-Haas, Ford may be on the outs at some point in the next year or so. I'm sure they'd like to get an SHR car in. Ford, shockingly, this shocked me. I've noticed this stat like last week. Right now, Ford has more drivers than any other manufacturer in the Cup Series playoffs. Like, we all talk about how Ford seemingly has lagged behind this year. There are currently 5, if you include both, 5 Toyota drivers. There are 5 Chevy drivers. You got 2 from Hendrick, Chastain, Busch, Stenhouse. Then the other 6 are all Fords. Logano Blaney, Buescher Keselowski, Harvick, and Michael McDowell. So again, strength in numbers. A lot of blue ovals already locked in. Might be willing to push Eric Almirola if push comes to shove. That I can't believe that worked out that way. Let's spin this wheel one final time. Again, Daytona is all about fate. Let's see who fate has this wheel landing on. Let's do it. One final spin. Let's keep it going. Can you feel the suspense? Pressure building? Yes, yes. Oh, Daniel Suarez. I think Daniel Suarez is low-key the sleepiest of the sleeper picks this weekend. I've been up and down, up and down, up and down all over the place on Daniel Suarez this year. At times they've had great speed, but the team, the driver have made numerous mistakes taking themselves out of races. Watkins Glen this past weekend, Daniel Suarez made a bad mistake spinning out on lap 6. Just can't make that mistake. He did. It's hard for me to trust this team, but look at their results on super speedways this year, guys. 4 races. They finished in the top 10 3 times. Also, remember this race 1 year ago? Daniel Suarez was side by side battling for the lead with 20-something laps to go when that rain hit and crashed everybody. No one's talking about Daniel Suarez. Everyone's talking about Chase Elliott. Folks are talking about Eric Almirola, his super speedway success. We're talking about Justin Haley. Corey LaJoie is a popular underdog. Can we talk about Daniel Suarez? I don't think enough people are. I'm glad the wheel landed on him because I think he will be a factor late in Saturday night's event. I think pointing his way in is going to be tough. He's 42 points out, but he'll be around. If he can stay out of trouble, he will have a shot at the win. I'm convinced. He's been up in the top 5, top 10 too many times in a row now for me to consider them all flukes. But enough of the roulette wheel. Let's get away from the wheel of fortune, the wheel of destiny, whatever we want to call it. I would say if I were to rank my top 3 favorites of the bubble drivers, folks that aren't locked in, I would go Bubba Wallace. Again, I think he's due. Almost won Talladega. I don't think he'll make that same mistake a second time. I'll go Daniel Suarez at number 2. I mean, that's a Chevy factory team. Not sure if that's really the right language to use, but they're a key Chevy partner. Trackhouse is. His teammates already in the playoffs. I think there will be some Chevys in the mix to potentially help Daniel Suarez, and he's been up front at the end of a lot of these races in recent years. And then my third favorite, I'd probably go with Chase Elliott. I have to. Hendrick cars are usually fast. Chase Elliott, while he hasn't won a points race at Daytona, he's won at the other 2 super speedways. He's got, I think, 3 career super speedway wins. So I think Chase Elliott has as good or better shot than most anyone this weekend. My pick to win, though, is Brad Keselowski. If you really are twisting my arm about it, I think an existing playoff driver is going to win. RFK Fords were so fast at Daytona in February, and I think they've only gotten better at every other track since then. I can't imagine they've lost their super speedway edge. I'm picking Brad Keselowski to win the race, but the focus of this episode was bubble drivers. Watch out for Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, Wake Up, and Chase Elliott. Those are my top 3 bubble drivers to watch out for. But anyone can win. Again, from Ty Gibbs to Ty Dillon, you get the win Saturday night, you are in the playoffs. Last year we saw Austin Dillon blow up the playoff grid by taking advantage of that late race crash and getting some help from his teammate Tyler Reddick. Qualifying will matter. Track position will matter. What teammates do you have in your immediate vicinity will matter. Big wrecks. Can you miss them? That always matters. That's going to do it for this episode, y'all. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you're new to the channel and you love NASCAR. We talk NASCAR basically every day. And as always, a huge thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. I'll be at Daytona the next 2 days. If you see me at the track, feel free to come say hi. We'll have some content coming to you directly from Daytona. Can't wait for that. But y'all have a wonderful rest of your week. I will see you later this weekend. Take it easy, y'all.